Hello everybody and welcome. This is a crochet along video that is a follow-up to Jilly's birthday party, and it's the first crochet along video for my Facebook page, Rachel's Hooking Hobby. This video is going to walk you through how to create a crocheted candy cane Christmas decoration. It's using a free pattern listed on yarnspirations.com, and I will link to that pattern in the description of this video. For this project, you will need a 5mm crochet hook, a darning needle, scissors of some kind, half a pipe cleaner. You're going to need roughly 9 grams of red worsted weight yarn, roughly 9 grams of white worsted weight yarn. This is actually a finished product, so I'll be working with the red today and then putting them together for you at the end. And of course, the pipe cleaner is going to be used to help the candy cane keep its shape. So we don't want it overly long. Half a pipe cleaner should do just well. It is a beginning level project. We're going to be using chains and double crochet stitches, which I will show you how to do. We are going to start with the red. You can start with the white if you choose to. At the end of this video, I will be putting these together. You will need to do the other color on your own. So you can watch this video a second time for your second color. Now, first we need to get the yarn on our hook. Now, to get the yarn on our hook, we need to create a slip knot. To create the slip knot, rest the tail end of the yarn across your fingers and your palm. You're going to wrap the long end of the yarn around your finger to make a loop. Slide the loop off your finger, allowing the long end of the yarn to fall down the middle of the back of the loop. Insert your hook on the right side of the loop, grab that tail, and pull it through. You can use the short end and the long end to tighten it up on your hook. We don't want it too tight. We want to be able to slide through the loop fairly easily, so don't tighten it to the point where your hook cannot move. And this is your slip knot. From here, we're going to start our chaining onto the project. The project requires 40 chains. Now, just to give you some information before we start chaining, when we wrap the yarn around our hook, that's called yarning over. So you will see as I start to chain that we're going to be yarning over several times and pulling the yarn through the loop that's currently on the hook. We're going to wrap the yarn around our hook. So we're going to yarn over. You're going to use the hook to pull the yarn through the loop that's currently on the hook. And that is how you create your first chain. So again, we have a working loop on our hook. This is the long end of the yarn at the back. You're going to yarn over. Use the hook to pull that through the loop that's on the hook. And that's your second chain. Again, we're going to yarn over. Use the hook to pull that through the loop that's on your hook. So that's 3 chains. We've got 1, 2, 3. We need to create 40 chains for this project. So again, we're going to yarn over and pull it through. So that's 4. Yarn over, pull it through, 5, yarn over, pull it through, 6. Seven, 38, 39, 40. So these are the 40 chains that we've used, that we will be using for our project. As you look at the chains, there's almost a V shape on every single one. The chains are made up of 3 strands. The loop that's closest to you is the front loop. If this is the front loop, then this must be the back loop. So we have the front loop, then the back loop. And if you actually look at the back of it, there's a 3rd strand that runs down the back of it. And I actually call this the spine. I don't think that's the technical term. It's what I call it because it reminds me that I'm looking at the back of the work, which is the wrong way. So if you can see what I call the spine here, then you're looking at the back of the work. We always want to make sure that we're looking at the front of the work. So we should see each of these little V's or chevrons, whichever you want to call them, that signify each chain. Now, what we want to do with this piece of work, right now we have what's called a foundation chain. And we're going to be using every single one of these chain stitches. For the project, we need to put 3 double crochets in every single stitch. So to create our first double crochet, in the rules of crochet, if you're going to use your foundation chain as part of a stitch, then you skip the number of stitches matching the type of crochet you're doing. In this situation, because we're doing double crochet, our first actual stitch is going to go into the 4th chain from the hook. We never include this one. This is called the working yarn. You never include this little loop that's on your hook here. You always count the actual chains. So this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, and this is 4. So this is where we're going to be inserting our hook for our first double crochet. Now, to create a double crochet in a foundation chain, we're going to use the back loop and the spine. So when we actually use our hook to enter in the foundation chain, the front loop will not be used. We're going to go into the 4th chain. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, to create a double crochet, you're going to yarn over. You're going to insert your hook into the chain. And again, we're going to insert under the back loop and the spine. So the front loop is going to remain. We're going to yarn over again when we have our hook through the back, and we're going to bring that yarn forward. When we do that, we will have 3 loops on our hook. We're going to yarn over again and pull through the first 2 loops. 1, 2. Now we have 2 loops on our hook. We're going to yarn over again and pull through the last 2 loops. That is your double crochet. Now, because we have our foundation chain, the last 3 stitches, this is going to be considered our first double crochet, even though it's part of the foundation chain. The rules of crochet can be a little bit silly sometimes. So in this stitch, at the moment, we have 2 double crochets because we count the foundation chain as our first one. We've created our second one. This pattern calls for 3 double crochets in every chain. So we have to do 1 more in the same stitch. So we're going to yarn over, insert the hook back into the same stitch, yarn over again and pull that through. That's 3 loops on our hook. We're going to yarn over again, pull through the first 2, 1, 2. That leaves 2 loops on the hook. Yarn over and pull through both loops. That is your double crochet. So right now we have 1, 2, 3 double crochets in the first stitch. Okay, so this is our next stitch. We've got our little V, we have our 3 strands. So we're going to yarn over, insert the hook above the front loop, so under the back loop and the spine. We're going to yarn over, bring that loop forward. We now have 3 loops on our hook. We're going to yarn over, draw through 2 loops, yarn over, draw through the last 2 loops. So that is the first stitch in this chain. We have to do 3 double crochet stitches in each chain. So we need to do 2 more. Yarn over, insert the hook back into the exact same stitch. Yarn over, pull it through. We have our 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over, draw through 2 of the loops. We have 2 loops on the hook. Yarn over, bring through the last 2. So that is our second double crochet stitch in this chain loop. So we're going to yarn over and insert the hook one last time into this stitch. Draw up a loop, yarn over, bring through 2 loops, yarn over, bring through the last 2. So that is our third stitch. 1, 2, 3. We have 3 double crochet stitches in this chain. So now we move on to the next one. So again, we want to check for the V because that's where our next stitch is. We've got our V here. Yarn over. Insert, we're going to insert under the, or above the front loop, below the back loop and the spine, yarn over, pull it through. We have 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, draw through 2, yarn over, draw through 2. Again, that is our first stitch in this chain. So 2 more. Yarn over, go into the same stitch, yarn over and pull through. Well, there's 3 loops on our hook. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, so that's 2 stitches, or 2 double crochet stitches in this foundation chain. 1 more, yarn over, go back into that same stitch, drop a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Now, what you can start to see happening is this will curl. It's starting to curl on its own. And actually, when it's done, because you've got 3 stitches, 3 double crochets in every of the single of the foundation chain, the entire thing will curl on its own. And this is actually what we will do to attach them, because we will intertwine these individual curls, and then we'll feed the pipe cleaner through the middle to help the candy cane keep its shape. So it will start to curl as you continue to put the stitches through. And again, we want to do 3 stitches in every single one. Okay, so we're on to our next chain. Yarn over, you're going to insert your hook, draw up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So that is our first double crochet stitch in this chain. We need 2 more. Yarn over, go back into that same stitch, draw up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So trust me, by the time we get to the 20th double crochet, the 20th chain of double crochet, you'll be an expert at this, and you'll just be zipping through the last 20. So on to our 3rd double crochet in this stitch, yarn over, again go back into the same stitch, draw up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So that's our 3rd double crochet in that stitch. We need to move on to this next one. Yarn over, insert the hook, draw up the loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So as you can see, it is already starting to curl, and as I'm doing the double crochet stitches, sometimes the tail's kind of flipping up and around, and as the yarn moves. So you'll have to develop your own comfortable way to keep this tail end out of your working area. So for me, I have really large hands, but for me, I find it easy enough to keep it in between my 2 fingers and keep it out of the way as I'm doing my stitches. But that's only when it gets to a certain point. The first few won't be a problem. Okay. Oh, look at that. So I did 3 in this one, and this one I've actually done a single crochet in 2 different stitches. I didn't go back into the same one. So it's not really a problem, because what you can do is take your hook out very gently pull the working yarn and remove the stitch that you made by mistake. You can pull the loop up a little bit at the top, and this is where you're going to insert your hook again. So I'm going to do 2 more double crochet in this particular stitch. So yarn over, insert into the same stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. 1 more, yarn over, insert into the same hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So that's the set of 3 in that stitch. 1, 2, 3. Find our V. And essentially you can always tell because the front loop is the loop of the next stitch. So this is the front loop of the stitch you were just working on. The next front loop after that is where you're going to be inserting your hook. All right, and we have the last chain. So again, we're going to yarn over, insert, this one's a little bit tighter. There we go. Yarn over, insert the hook. It will feel a little bit different with the knot on the one end, but you're going to treat it just like a regular stitch. Yarn over, draw up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through the other 2. We're going to go back into the same stitch, yarn over, draw up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and this will be the last double crochet in this pattern on the red. Yarn over, go back into the same stitch, draw up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and that is the last stitch. Okay, so now what we're going to do, leave ourselves a little bit of slack. We're going to weave it through and then create a hook for our. Now, this is the tail end of your knot, and this is the long working yarn. So what you're going to do here is we're going to fasten off. And right now we have a loop on our hook that is a working loop, and we have the long end of our yarn. We're going to yarn over once, pull the whole thing through that loop. We can put our hook down because we're not going to use it anymore, and you're just going to continue to pull until it tightens into a little knot. Now this is where we're going to have our yarn needle come into play. So I'm going to hide this tail end. And how we hide the tail ends is we actually take our needle up through the stitches. And we weave the tail end in and out through the stitches. Because it's the same color, it essentially will hide the tail very easily. Sometimes you have difficulties when the color changes in the yarn. It doesn't hide the tail as easily. You're going to want to make sure you change directions a couple of times, because essentially you want to get this woven effect through. And then once you've got the few directional changes, the yarn will stay put. This tail will stay hidden. So we've woven it through 3 stitches. So that will stay hidden now. And now we're safe to trim off the yarn on the tail. Okay. So we have a long curly part here. Okay, so we have our white and our red pieces completed, 40 chains in each, 3 double crochets in each chain. You may have to help the yarn a little bit if you've got a couple of twists in it to straighten it all out so that your spirals look similar to one another. Now what we want to do is combine the spirals, intertwine them all. We want to make sure that our pipe cleaner is in the middle. So you can decide for yourself if you would like to start with the red and have the red on the outside, or have the white on the outside. It is completely at your discretion. But what we want to do is the inside color will contain the pipe cleaner. The outside color will wrap around both. So if you decide to have white as your inside color, which will help to hide the pipe cleaner. So, I mean, just for that sake, I prefer to have white as the inside color. But that's completely at your discretion. So what we're going to do for our inside color, we're going to wrap our pipe cleaner into the middle all the way through. So that it's down through. Okay. Now we're going to take our outside color and essentially what you're going to do is just intertwine with the inside color. Now this may take a little bit of manipulation to actually get all of the rows in the candy canes equal. Because you've got 2 different crochet pieces, actually is what we're dealing with. They're 2 different crochet pieces. Sometimes you crochet them a little differently. So one may be looser than the other. One may be not quite the same tension is what they call it in the crochet world. So you may have one that actually ends up a little longer. So we're just going to continue to wrap these and manipulate these until we've got them evenly all the way down. you go. And what we will do is we will take some extra yarn. I'm just going to do a quick stitch through here just to make sure that there's always an extra little layer so that that pipe cleaner doesn't get to poke anybody. And this will be on the underside. And then we'll take that tail end and we can hide it into this extra piece here. But we want to use this yarn to create a loop to be able to hang this off the Christmas tree. So what I'm going to do, is through this piece here, I'm going to insert my hook. I'm going to go down through the middle. Not my hook, my my oh, here we go. My needle. So this is going through the middle. There we go. And what we're going to do is just create a little loop. Just want to make sure I put it in the right place. So I'm going to tie off a little loop on this side, and then I'll come across. And I'll tie off a little loop on this side. So that this won't move. And then this again, we're going to weave back through.
Totally out of frame.
And then we're going to cut the piece here. This you can weave back through if you're worried about it, if you didn't tie a tight enough knot and you're afraid to cut it. I usually just trim it right to the base. Some people are not very confident in their in their knot tying skills, so you can actually just weave it through and then leave it in place and cut the little bit at the end, so that it's got a little bit of a secured connection to the project. There you go. And you can hang that on your tree.